Hello, everyone. My name is Ruth Katabian. I'm from St. Matthew's Publishing Corporation and Cahel Press. Today, our topic is about the World Intellectual Property Office and the publishing industry. So, for today, we will be talking about the Publisher Circle program. Conceptually, the Publisher Circle program can answer various publishing issues in the emerging markets, especially for the Southeast Asian region. However, the book industry in Southeast Asia is not well connected. Perhaps it was due to the language barriers, but if the publishers in the region can come together and establish strong networks, then efforts to expand each country's book market will be possible. In this agenda, we will discuss the Publisher Circle program, organized by the World Intellectual Property Office, and see how it can become a platform for publishers in Southeast Asia to learn from each other and expand. So for today, we have a special guest from WIPO. He is the Deputy Director of Copyright Management Division and the Copyright and Creative Industry Sector of the World Intellectual Property Organization. So let's all welcome Dimitar Gantchev. All right. So, Dimitar, thank you so much for joining us for this session. And we'd really like to know more about the Publisher Circle program. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, of course, Ruth. First of all, it is very nice to see you again, even though many thousand miles away. But it is good to link together with you. You were part of this program when we started it a year ago, so it's nice to reconnect. Why is the World Intellectual Property Organization interested in publishing, and how this program came about? I must tell you that, first of all, our interest in publishing is based on some of our empirical work, which suggests that publishing is by far the biggest creative sector in most of the countries around the world. Around 39% of the value generated in the core copyright industries and 43% of the employment in those industries falls on publishing. So publishing is really important. Based on this, we have been, of course, studying the demand from our member states, and we found out that many member states need to upgrade their professional levels in publishing so that they can gain further insights and make this industry even more efficient. And it all started with a big meeting that we organized in 2017. The meeting was held in Africa, actually. And the meeting was dedicated to the publishing industry on this continent and its role in education and growth. So it was around educational publishing, but very much linked to the economic agenda of the countries participating. And we had most of the countries represented in this event. And the event finished with the adoption of an action plan on how to boost the publishing industry on this continent, a plan which had a number of important chapters, such as national book policy and reading culture, the legal framework which supports publishing, the book value chain, and some issues of infrastructure. And in following up on this action plan, we developed a charter for the Publishers Circle, which was an initiative which was born there. And that charter was launched in June 2018. In June 2018, we made an official announcement and we launched this initiative as a public-private partnership. The idea of the Publisher Circle initiative is that we would like to promote cooperation and dialogue and partnerships between publishers within the developing world, but also with the publishers from the developed world. The idea was to foster collaborations which were innovative in character and which would not only transfer knowledge, but also may result into joint projects in the future. And this initiative was supported widely, so we got a lot of support, more than 100 organizations, entities, and individual publishers have joined the charter. They have signed the charter and have expressed a willingness to partner with us in developing this initiative. So I'm very happy to talk about that 2 years after the official launch, when we already have results and we are looking in the future. So that's in a nutshell how it all started.
So you mentioned that we got to see each other in Seoul last year, and we also had a very special partner, which was VSAN Education. So can you tell us how VSAN came into the picture and how they became a partner to this program?
Yes, of course, it will be my pleasure. The program, once we launched it, was announced at various fora. It was announced at the Frankfurt Book Fair. It was announced at the Educational Publishers Forum. And in one of those meetings of the Educational Publishers Forum, which took place in 2018, actually, our Deputy Director General, Mrs. Sylvie Forban, who is at the origins of this partnership and this idea, she met with the VSAN representatives who were also on that educational publishers board. And VSAN is a major company in educational publishing in Korea. So they immediately saw there a possibility for them to share their knowledge. And there you go. So the idea was born in Reykjavik in Iceland, where this meeting took place, exactly the opposite end of the world from where you are now, Reykjavik. And we followed up with VSANG, and they expressed readiness to host the first program, which would be a particular performance coaching session type. And we started working on the modalities with them. So that's how VSAN came in the picture. It was an expression of interest on their side, which was born during the Educational Publishers Forum meeting in Reykjavik. And we are very happy that we are continuing with VSAN on that road.
Yeah, I'm really so happy with what VSAN Education has done for the program. It was a very well curated program. And I'm just curious, how did they come up with such a program for the participants of the first performance coaching program or the Publishers Circle?
Yes, a very good question, how a program is drawn. You see, for us, this program is an area where we try to be facilitators of relationships and contacts between publishers from the developing and developed world. So we did not impose anything on that program. In fact, the first part was the selection of participants for the program. And that happened in the following way. We are partnering in this project, in this program, with the International Publishers Association, among others. And with their assistance, we also spread the word through the national publishers associations in the countries. Another stream was also to inform the government structures which are responsible for publishing in each of the country. And through these two channels, we started collecting interesting projects which publishers had. Publishers who had already signed up to the charter, and publishers who had an interesting and innovative project which they wanted to develop, and they could use a hand, they could use experience from an experienced publisher. So we had a small committee which looked at the project proposals, and we put together a list of what we thought would be the 7-8 best candidates for projects. So we shared those with VSANG, and on the basis of the focus of each of the projects, then we drew up a draft program, which was then sent to the participants for validation and for checking whether it would correspond to their needs and views. So that's how the program was drawn up. It is a mixture of conceptual, legal, and many practical matters. This partnership really is focused on practical issues. And we drew up the program, and I'm happy that you as a participant think that it was worthwhile.
It really was actually when I was there. I remember at the end of each day, I was just so tired because I learned so much from everyone who were giving presentations and even from the other participants. And I remember you mentioning before that in the selection process, it wasn't really like get one or two from each country. It was really more of um, what the participants sent in their proposals, and that's really where you base your selection from. Is it going to be like that in the future, or will you open up the program to more participants?
You see, it depends on the offers that we receive from publishing companies to host such programs in the future. But I thought that this model was a particularly successful one because it was a relatively small group. So we were 8 people. And that enables people to hear each other, and that gives enough time to go in depth in the issues that are being discussed. How will it continue will depend on the one hand on what offers do we get, and on the other hand also on the projects that will be selected. In this particular case, we did not have all projects related to educational publishing. As you know, we had some children's books companies and even trade publishing, among others. But of course, the prevailing was educational publishing. So we had this in common, and it was Southeast Asia, which was important for us as a regional, because we thought that there might be some issues that you countries can share in common, being from the same region. How are we going to run this in the future? As I said, we do have some ideas, we do have some offers, and we will do another round of inviting for projects and looking at candidates. And then we will select the best ones, and then we will work with the host to see how can we build a program which could be tailored towards the issues that this particular group has. So there's no standard program. Each program will be different. So, and it will be tailored as per the interest of the participants. We are working not only in Southeast Asia, we're working also in other parts of the world. And the programs there take different shape. For example, publishers from Africa participated mostly in exchanges to the countries from which we had hosts in Europe mostly. But of course, that was a different program with 1 or 2 participants only participating in each exchange. Now having 8 participants in Seoul gave us the possibility to build a program and to be on the premises of VSAN at their headquarters, to meet different departments. And of course, with a group like this, with 8 participants, recipients, and an impressive number of speakers from the hosting company, we were able to draw up a full week of interesting events, as I said, focusing very much on the practical.
I'd like to mention some of the topics that we had, because the way that we crafted the program, to me, it felt like a mini MBA. So it wasn't just like management concepts, though. We even had talks on sustainable and eco-friendly product manufacturing, quality control. We got to visit Terra Books, which was their print production arm, which was also in the Paju Book City in Seoul. We also had talks on managing foreign rights and author relationship, which was given by a partner, a different publishing house called Green Bee Publishing. And we also got to talk about some legal aspects to the publishing business. So it was a very well-rounded program for me. So how do you think, or how do you think the program will take shape now that we're in a pandemic? Do you see that participants will be going into South Korea or to another country where the host company is, or will this take a digital format?
Well, I think that at this stage, probably we will have to think of distance formats, digital formats, online formats, simply because it's still not safe to travel. And that would be an impediment both on the side of the recipient side and on the side of the participants. And we cannot afford to put anyone at risk through the program. So I think the next round most probably will be on the web. And we will select again publishers with interesting projects, and then we have several candidates who have offered already their services for another round, and then we will tailor the program. But perhaps I can also say that this type of programs, performance coaching programs, is just one of the deliverables, as we call them, of the publisher circle. It is one program, but apart from that, we have also been looking into the preparation of interesting tools and materials that could be of assistance to publishers. One of them was a licensing tool for publishers, which could help them in negotiating publishing contracts. And this tool has been now finalized, and we're going to put it on the website and launch it very, very soon. So this could be another opportunity to train publishers specifically in licensing issues and in contracts. Another important aspect, which was already highlighted from the beginning of this stream of activity, was the importance of identifiers in the publishing industry. And we are preparing some material which could be of help and could give some guidance to publishers as to what are the most appropriate identifiers that they could look into and work with and benefit from, because you need identifiers in order for your work to be identified and in order for it to be managed properly so that you can receive the remuneration that you're entitled to. So these are two streams on which we will have products very soon that we can offer. And there could be different activities with these products. For one, they could be an information resource. And as point two, it could also be the subject of specific trainings. So, for example, if we're talking about ISBNs, or if we are talking about ISNIs or other identifiers which publishers may not be too familiar with, or they might use some advice. So that could be another area where we could engage. But the whole program is very much organic, so it will grow as per the demands that we receive. We continue to have newcomers to the charter, organizations that also come with their ideas. Our idea would be to link those parties, the publishers from the developed world and the publishers from the developing world, and very importantly, to encourage partnerships among publishers in different regions. I think you witnessed how much how useful it is to talk to other people from the region who have similar, same, or different problems that you may have or you may meet in the future.
So I know we're supposed to have a meeting with the other participants of the program next week, but have you heard any updates from the others? Have they had any notable partnerships, maybe with VSAN or with other publishers following through with the program that we had?
Indeed, when we started the program, each of the participants presented a project, and then we wanted them to make use during the visit in Seoul to see how they can advance their project. So when we meet next week in the digital space, that will be the moment when everybody can share their views on to what extent the knowledge acquired through this performance coaching program has been useful for them to advance their project. And we would like to see how relevant the program has been. In my communication with the participants, I found that many of them made use of quite a number of points in their everyday work, not necessarily to advance the specific project that they had, but in general, how to organize their work, how to approach marketing issues, how to approach some of the intellectual property issues, that was a nice message that I received, that all of them found that it had been useful in different ways. So that's what we are going to discuss next week. As you know, VSAN has always been ready to take up questions. Of course, we have the language barrier, but that's why we have excellent interpretation services, and we will be making use of those next week as well. So feel free to speak about the problems that you're facing, and we are certain that VSAN will be more than happy to take up those issues. They had also indicated that they would be ready to organize another program in the future. So not only other publishers, but VSAN would like to make this also a project of relevance for them in the future. And we're very happy to work with such a serious company. Yes, I think it has been useful in different ways to the different publishers, but so far nobody has said that they had no use of the knowledge that was received then.
For me, my main takeaway from VSAN was actually the talks on managing contracts, managing authors. And as you mentioned, the things that we learned were really mostly like in our day-to-day activities, not really into specific projects, at least for us. But I think we could have worked on them more intently if not for the pandemic. So things just got pushed back. But these were some of the things that were very helpful to us. I already have some ideas in terms of even incorporating marketing activities and being specific about them in our contracts, how to find authors, also marketing books, having events, and I guess now we have to deal with digital events. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with what we've learned during the performance coaching program. And I do hope that WIPO will extend this to like even more publishers. And I think I've mentioned this to you before that I wish we had something similar but more specific to the publishers of each country as well. Do you see WIPO working on this as well?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, even before launching this program, we had cooperation with some of the countries in the region within the publishing sector. So that has always been an important industry, one of the oldest industries in the creative sector. So we certainly hope to be able to expand on a national basis. There are countries where there is a flourishing publishing business in the region. And for those countries, we were actually planning to organize programs right on the spot in the country. It may be easier for us to gather a huge amount of publishers in one place, in Indonesia or in the Philippines, national publishers. It will not be the same program because you cannot go and visit their offices, their publishing plant, and meet all of the interesting speakers there. But we can try to bring as many speakers as possible from one or several countries and focus the program on the national context. So I think this definitely has been on our agenda. In fact, we were already thinking in very concrete terms, you may remember we discussed the possibility of organizing an event in the Philippines with the Philippines publishers and using your book development board, and we have many contacts there. So we had done some preliminary preparatory work, but as you said, the situation health-wise did not allow us to to carry out this for now. I think that we can try with some web events in the coming months, which does not mean that we preclude the possibility of organizing face-to-face events when the situation allows us. Let's hope this will be at some point next year. But the pandemic has really caught us all aback a little bit. So people were waiting, didn't know how to react. For some of the publishers, it became a matter of survival. So they left aside issues of optimizing the business and adding on some of the specific elements that that we taught them and we felt were important. But this is a phase; it will pass. We're not talking about a major structural change. It's a situation which hopefully will be dealt with within the months to come. And then we can resume the physical meetings. But for now, I think we will be focusing on web meetings. And yes, there will be national meetings and there will be international meetings. So there's nothing which precludes us from coming up with new formats. You see, this is an organic program. As I said, it is built on the demand which exists, depending on what people have to say, what are their interests. So we will try to make an interesting program and offer to them a draft, and that's how we're going to arrive at something which is balanced and which is of interest and which is practical. That's one of the main features of this project.
Looking ahead, who do you see as potential partners for this program, aside from VSAN? And we've also had the opportunity to meet the Ministry of Culture and Sports in South Korea. Do you plan to work with more government agencies as well?
You see, with the publisher circle, the charter of the publisher circle has been signed, as I said, by over 100 entities. And some of these entities are government entities, some of them are private companies, some of them are international organizations in which we have many individual publishers. So yes, of course, governments have an interest to work with us because the government has a responsibility for the national book policy. It has a responsibility for literacy, for so many issues which are at the heart of publishing. And also, if you have a publishing industry which stands for like 14% of your workforce, which is the case in the Philippines, it's the governments cannot turn a blind eye on that, and they certainly are interested in making sure that the conditions are there for this industry to continue to flourish. So we do have discussions with a number of partners. The Republic of Korea continues to support this activity, and I'm sure that in terms of Asia, we can continue to do programs with them, but also with other partners. So we are in discussion with several partners. As I said, the format for now will be digital. So in a way, it is easier to organize digital events. On the other hand, I personally believe you can never get the same effect from the digital as you can have through the face-to-face communication and the networks that are built during such programs. But yes, we are resuming this. We have resumed these activities, and now I think it will be a good point next week to discuss these issues for this particular group of publishers. But we are discussing with other potential partners who could be mentors and who could participate in such performance coaching. There will be new products, as I said. We are discussing also other formats and possibilities on other continents. there was an idea that we could do more around book fairs, but you have seen how book fairs are being run this year. It's a strange year. Nevertheless, I think that events like this, the Content Week in Jakarta, is a great opportunity for us to pass a message and to reach out to as many people as possible, hoping that, of course, this is a temporary phase and we will gradually be able to go back to a kind of normal.
I agree with you that it's really different. You know, even though we're doing things digitally, we're still moving forward. It still cannot replace the face-to-face interactions with other publishers, other mentors in the industry. Since we're talking about collaborations, although we haven't really had formal collaborations with other publishers that were part of the program, I mean, I still keep in contact with some of the other publishers. Linda has been also very sweet. She gives advice to me from time to time, recommends other programs. And I think, you know, in terms of collaborating with other publishers from other countries, it's really important to have this rapport or this relationship with other publishers, which would be more challenging now that everything's going digital. And I really do hope we go back to our in-person events as well. So, Demeter, will other publishers be able to submit their proposal soon? Is there a set date for them to be able to start engaging with WIPO and to be in talks about joining this program themselves?
Yes, publishers will be invited to propose new projects. We could use some advice from you as to how this would be done most efficiently. As I said in the past, we approach publishers through the national publishers associations and through the government branch. We have to find a way that it all becomes manageable. If you get projects in the thousands, that's a different story. So that's why we wanted also to make sure that these are projects that fall within the priorities of the local publishing industry and the governments as well. So we are an intergovernmental organization, so we are certainly interested very much in the opinion of each of the member states. So we're thinking of what is the best way to approach this, how to suggest to publishers to come up with projects so that we get the best projects, the best ideas from serious publishers who have a potential to grow as well. So we're not limiting it to any particular size. So even small publishers can participate. The important thing is that they have an innovative project, that they're enthusiastic about it, and that we can really make a difference with our limited resources and possibilities to assist them. Different projects may require different solutions. Somebody may be in need just of an occasional advice to get the business rolling or to put in place an innovative idea. Others may need extensive training in one particular field in which they have a problem. Others may make use of a quite comprehensive but still balanced educational program, transfer of skills. In certain cases, the legal issues may be important. So we have to, if we are putting together a group, we have to make sure that they have issues which can be combined so that the program makes sense to everyone who participates. But all options are on the table, so we can do different things. Depends on what kind of proposals come to us.
Right. So, Demeter, is there anything else you'd like to add to our discussion? Any updates, exciting projects, apart from those that you've already mentioned to us?
Well, I think that, as I said, it's a great opportunity to be able to address the participants in the Jakarta Lit Beat. I'm only sorry that we're not there personally. That remains something for the future to wish for. I think what we have to do now is to try to come up with a new series of programs and projects on all continents, not only in Southeast Asia, because we're a global organization. And I can tell you that there are many requests from different parts of the world. But we first started off with Asia. So I think what we need to do is to establish programs and activities on each of the continents. We still have done relatively little with Latin America, and in Africa we've had a few events, but perhaps not sufficient. So we will work on all continents. We are preparing material for distribution, material that can provide more knowledge on the program among different potential users. And that material will be available digitally from various websites and hubs and points where people go. We would like, of course, we're working also with potential sponsors. It's very important what is the budget that you can rely on. So that it can make a difference. Once we gather these experiences from different regions, I think we will assess them, let's say after 1 year or within a reasonable period of time. And then we will see what works best, and then we can move to the next stage. You see, publishing is very closely linked to one of the Sustainable Development Goals, education for all. This is an important goal for the United Nations, and we feel that we are making a contribution to something which is much bigger. I take the opportunity to say that addressing the audience in Indonesia, which has been one of the drivers behind the UN declaration, which is announcing next year as the year of creative industries for sustainable development. So that's a very important year for all of us, and I think we will all be trying to make different contributions to make this a success. It is not every year that the United Nations take up the creative industries on such a high level. So we have an important political year ahead, and I'm particularly happy to work with Southeast Asia, where you have so many countries which have put creative industry so high on their agenda. And for me, it will be a pleasure working with all of you and trying to see what are the projects that are going to be of use to you. We are not interested in making abstract projects. Anything that can be practical, of value to you, and can help you to advance and to turn the creative sector in your country into a driver for economic, social, and cultural developments.
I also wish we were able to do this live and take in some questions from participants, but I guess we make do with what we have right now. So thank you very much for the 17,000 Islands of Imagination Foundation. To Indonesia, you've always been so generous in sharing your time, your resources, and also bringing other publishers together from around the region. And I hope the other participants will enjoy the rest of the LitBeat Academy. So thank you very much. And this was WIPO and the publishing industry.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Mengawali hari dengan informasi terkini, menjadi sumber referensi dan inspirasi di setiap aktivitas. Melalui news video portal, segala informasi dapat tersajikan cepat, akurat, dan lengkap. Dengan kekuatan teknologi digital, Midcom.id hadir dengan berita pilihan yang dikemas secara menarik. Midcom.id, digitally inspire people.
Sudah 15 menit, masih kejebak macet. Tenang. Daripada emosi, 15 menit Anda jadi lebih berharga kalau bersama saya.
15 Minutes, setiap Rabu, jam 6 sore lewat 45 menit. Mediaindonesia.com hadir dengan opini cerdas dan narasumber kredibel, mudah diakses, informasi berkualitas ada di genggaman Anda. Klik di browser Anda, www.mediaindonesia.com. Dan temukan pandangan berbeda, karena fakta bisa sama, sudut pandang boleh beda. Mediaindonesia.com, Views and News.
Dalam setiap denyut kota, saya selalu menjadi saksinya. Disiarkan lebih dari 20 televisi jaringan Jawa Pos Group. Jawa Pos TV, paling Indonesia. Kebebasan pers dan gelombang era digital menghadirkan ribuan bahkan jutaan informasi dan data setiap harinya. Beragam data dan informasi berserak di berbagai tempat seiring dengan perubahan dunia yang bergerak begitu cepat. Media-media baru pun bermunculan, namun kualitas informasi seolah tak lagi menjadi prioritas. Bahkan, tak sedikit yang abai pada etika jurnalisme. Untuk menjawab tantangan itu, Kata Data hadir sejak April 2012 sebagai portal media di bidang ekonomi dan bisnis. Beragam sektor diulas mulai dari finansial, energi, pangan, hingga industri kreatif dan digital. Artikel mendalam dan komprehensif dengan sajian infografik yang menarik menjadi karakter utama dari Kata Data. Kata Data berikhtiar untuk terus menyajikan beragam informasi berkualitas untuk kemajuan negeri dan untuk kepentingan bisnis Anda. Kami percaya demokrasi yang sehat tumbuh dari kehadiran informasi dan data yang akurat.
Kalau bicara pakai data.
Hidup terlalu pendek untuk membiarkan pemikiran-pemikiranmu, ide-idemu terdiam begitu saja. Untuk berubah, kita perlu melangkah. Dan langkah itu lahir dari sebuah inspirasi. Republik